Namaste, good morning. We start our journey into what I popularly call the volume 2 of our material, that is our Bharatwaj Institute material, where we are starting from assessment of charitable trust, then to cooperative society, then to assessment of individuals, by which all these practical aspects of assessments will be of all entities will be over, then to assessment procedures, which will start from filing of return to penalty, and then we will move on to international taxation. That's going to be the travel for the next sessions of classes. In this, we start with assessment of charitable trust. Always a short question area. Always, every paper has 6 marks question on assessment of charitable trust. Every paper has 6 mark question. All the more for students who are writing in 2022, because there are a flood of amendments. Okay, and that makes it all the more important to understand this topic with greater details and go ahead. Right. What is this form of organization? Trust. Assessment of charitable, though I write the word charitable, it also includes religious trust. Assessment of charitable and religious trust. These are voluntary organizations not with the intention of making profits. In our accounting, we call it as non-profit organizations. Actually, non-profit seeking. Their main intention is not to seek profits. So, that is how these institutions are popularly known. They are registered under the Trust Act or sometimes Societies Act, but Cooperative Society is a separate assessment for us. So, as of now, understand they are registered under the Trust Act. There is an author, there is trustees, there are beneficiaries. If the beneficiaries are public at large, then it is known as a public trust. If the beneficiary is any particular person, then we call it as private trust. Beneficiary, public at large. The terminology public at large means even a section of the public is known as public at large. A charitable organization only for a particular sector of people. Accepted. Public at large does not mean it should cover everyone. It can cover only few. A section of the public is also known as public at large. School children is a section of public. Cancer patients is a section of public. This particular religion is a section of public, but section of public is also public at large. If it is a particular person, then it is known as a private trust. This chapter only deals with public trust. This chapter doesn't deal with private trust. Private trusts are taxable in the hands of the individuals who are creating it or as a trust in their normal manner. Well, what is that are important to understand? There are two sections which tells about trust. Basically, in our tax law, exemption is provided in two different sections. Okay, section 1023C also provides it, and section 11 to 13. There are two sections which provide for it. Section 1023C and section 11. We all understand 10 is exemptions. 10 is exemptions. 11 is also exemption with conditionalities. So we normally call this as small trust. Don't write it like that, but generally I'm telling you, small trusts are covered in section 1023C, whereas section 11 covers the huge or rather more operative, more dynamic trust. These two are the sections which provide for exemption for charitable trust. The bottom line of exemption, before going into anything, the bottom line of exemption is available if the income earned is spent for the object of the trust. The object should be to benefit public at large. If the income earned, money received, is spent for the object of the trust, then you can claim this exemption. Right, fine. Let us understand. So 1023C, 11 to 13, and also this chapter has two other aspects, political party and electoral trust. What are all the organizations which are covered under 1023C? Organizations or institutions which are covered under section 10 subsection 23C is divided into three, my dear friends. The overall division is three. Government funded institutions, small educational and medical institutions, those which are approved by prescribed authorities. I am repeating this. Section 1023C covers three types of trust or institutions. Government funded institutions, small educational or medical institutions, those which are approved by prescribed authorities, those institutions which are approved by prescribed authorities. So how many categories? How many categories, friends?
Three.
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 I am very particular about this because when we go down the provisions and sometimes when we are reading various other provisions, I will say that these are applicable for the third type of trust which are forming under 1023C. The third type of trust is those which are approved by prescribed authority, which means those provisions are not available for government funded institutions and small educational and medical institutions. So once more I am telling you, Section 1023C covers three types of entities, trusts or institutions: government funded, small educational and medical institutions, and those which are approved by prescribed authorities. Let's go and understand. Government funded, that's what first two. University or other educational institution wholly or substantially financed by the government, which exist solely for educational purposes and not for profit, which are only for educational and not for profit. Any hospital or other institution wholly or substantially funded by the government. So, government hospitals, government schools, government run institutions of educational institutions are covered under 1 and 2. Either it should be wholly funded by government or substantially financed by government. What do you mean by substantially? You see, there are three types of schools generally in our, those schools which are self-funding or which is supported by the government partially. Those schools which are popularly known as Oriental schools, which are substantially funded by the government. Those which are wholly funded by the government. Wholly, no doubt. Then comes a part called substantially funded by the government, both for education and medical. The term substantially financed by the government means the government grant exceeds 50% of total reserves. In my P&L or in my income side or in my income and expenditure side or the income, the total receipt of that 50% or more should be government funding. 51% or more should be government funding. Then I will accept this as substantially funded by government. Okay. Again, it only speaks about education, medical. Part 2. That is small institutions and both educational and medical. Now all of us in the classroom understand this is an amended provision. This is an amended provision. Amendment is small only. Universities or educational institution or hospital or medical institution whose annual receipt does not exceed rupees 5 crore. Till last year it was 1 crore. Till the financial year 2021, it was 1 crore. From your examination year, it has been increased to 5 crores. One more amendment is there. I'll tell you what it is in this itself. First, any university or educational institution existing solely for the purpose of education and not for profit, provided its aggregate annual receipt does not exceed 5 crores. Aggregate annual receipt does not exceed 5 crore. Hospital or other institution existing solely for philanthropic purpose and not for the purpose of profit, provided aggregate annual receipt exceeds 5 crores. Provided aggregate annual receipt does not exceed 5 crores. Small institutions. Till last year, First Amendment the threshold limit was 1 crore. More than 1 crore, it will go to section 11 and not 23C. But from this year, threshold limit is 5 crores. The reverse amendment. Till last year, it was any university or educational institution existing solely and not for profit, provided it does not exceed 5 crores. This aggregate word was not there. What is the significance? This is the significance. Where a trust is having both educational as well as medical, then for determining the threshold, combined annual receipt will be considered. Till last year, if I am having one trust running two institutions, Satyabama Medical College, Satyabama Hospital, SRM Medical College, SRM Hospital. If the medical college gross receipt is less than 1 crore, hospital's gross receipt is less than 1 crore, both can claim. Till last year, fall under 1023C. Now this year, a medical college gross receipt 3 crores. Hospital's gross receipt 3 crores. You cannot come under 1023C, go to 1011. You cannot come under 1023C, go to 11. Aggregate means combined annual receipt of all institutions within a trust. If you form it as different trusts, that is okay, separate legal entity. But under one trust, if you have sub-branches, then for each one I will check separately. So this is a major amendment which took place. One, they increased the threshold from 1 crore to 5 crores. For that, there is a popular statement why they increased, because majority of the MPs are running medical college or engineering college. Okay, not my statement, it is a popular statement that is there. 5 crores they increased, but one point they kept clearly is, that is, if the terminology 5 crore is not per institution, it is per trust. One trust having multiple institutions, I will check the aggregate, combine the receipts of all these things, and if it exceeds 5 crores, fall under 11. If it does not exceed 5 crores, then fall under 1023C. I am going to the third limb, that is approval of the prescribed authority. I am going to the third limb, any fund or institution existing for charitable purpose, provided it is approved by the prescribed authority. Any religious or public religious, provided it is approved by the prescribed authority. Other types of educational or hospitals which are approved by the prescribed authority. The prescribed authority is Commissioner of Tax Exemptions. Approved. Everywhere they are using the terminology approved by the prescribed authority. All of us understand, everywhere they are using the terminology approved by prescribed authority. If I look at section 11, they are going to use the word registered. What is required under 1023C is just the approval. What is necessary under section 11 is registration under 12AC and 12AB. We'll see that. Okay. Institutions mentioned above are to obtain. Above means only in the third category. Only in the third category. To obtain approval for availing exemption. The term approval is of soft nature and provided by the commissioner exemptions. The term registration involves detailed examination of documents and intricate. All entities falling under 11 need to be registered under section 12AB. This is a new amended section for you. From financial year 22-23, be it approval or registration, it is on digital basis. The timelines we will discuss. We will discuss later. The provisions are applicable for institutions falling under these three categories only, 5, 6, 7. That is the third category. As I told you, the first two categories does not have any big procedure. Claim it directly. Those institutions which are falling under the third category, approval of the prescribed authority. Just read through once. Just read through. Okay. First, second, third, fourth, whatever point it is. I'm reading the third point. Any university or other educational institution existing solely for the purpose of education and not for profit and not for profit. Queen's Educational Institution ஒரு case. The educational institution had profits. The educational institution had profits. Assessing officer said that exemption cannot be provided because you have profits. AO denied exemption saying you have profits. Is the AO's action valid?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Valid.
Why?
No, sir.
Because it's not for profit. They mention not for profit and solely for the purpose of
So
that.
not for profit means you should not make profit. Is that correct, Venkatesh?
Yes, sir.
No. No, sir.
No, sir.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, sir.
Not for profit does not mean you should not make profit. Your
You
intention should not
reinvest
be
the
to make
profits.
profit. If profit accrues during the course of carrying on of activity, ensure that profit is also spent for the betterment. Okay? Queen's Educational Society. If an institution engaged in imparting education incidentally makes profit, if an institution engaged in imparting education accidentally makes profit, would it lead to an inference that it is solely not existing? Held by Supreme Court. Where an educational institution carries on the education of primarily for educating persons, the fact that it makes surplus does not lead to a conclusion that it ceases solely for the purpose of educational purpose, and becomes an institution for the purpose of making profit. Look at this word. There is a difference between making a surplus and carrying on for making surplus. The first is accidental. The later is intentional. The overall object is only going to determine. Based on the principles and test it was held. In this case, assessee was engaged in education and the profit was only incidental to the main object of education. Hence, it satisfies the condition of 1023C for claim of exemption.
சார் இப்போ நம்ம எப்படி சார் டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் கண்டுபிடிக்கிறது? இன்டென்ஷனுக்கும் இன்சிடென்டலுக்கும் டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் எப்படி?
Actually, difference வச்சு you need not go for the difference. Okay. It is based upon whether the profit of are plowed back to the business, not taken over by the authors of the or trustees. அந்த மாதிரி தான் இதை பார்ப்பாங்களே தவிர you cannot look at the intention. Intention is something very, very personal in nature.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, coming back. Any university or other educational institution existing solely for the purpose of education and not for the purpose of profit. There are institutions like diploma courses, diploma on TV mechanic, diploma on radio mechanism, diploma on various small things that they AC mechanics, etc., which we popularly call it as vocation. It is not a profession, it is a vocation. An institution runs courses which gives the diploma certificate from that institution. இதெல்லாம் government கிடையாது. Okay? Schools, you have a formal system of education up to +2, college, undergraduation, post-graduation, after that. But these are not formal system of education, but they offer education and they also provide certification. Can these institutions claim exemption? The answer is yes. Or other educational institutions should be given a wider meaning. If they don't exist for the purpose of profit, if they are a charitable trust, then they can claim St. Peter's Educational Society. Imparting education or training in specialized field like communication, advertising, etc. Awarding diploma certificate, will it constitute education? Supreme Court judgment. Institution engaged in providing specialized training and awarding diplomas are also eligible for tax exemption. It is not mandatory to impart education in a formalized manner or conducted only through recognized educational courses. So, yes is the answer. Trust me, only 2 case laws in trust. Queen's Educational Society, St. Peter's Educational Society. Only 2 case laws. Till last year, there were some 10 to 12 case laws. This year reduced to 2. The reason is the law has been amended to a larger extent. All those case laws became little irrelevant now. You can refer. But still, the law has been amended. So only 2 case laws in trust. Queen's Educational Society and St. Peter's Educational Society. Wherever there are landmark pronouncement, I have given it separately. Let's come to questions later. Or okay, 1023C questions we will answer first. Question number 1. An educational institution having annual receipt of 3.8 crores has availed exemption under 1023C. The assessing officer denied the exemption on the grounds that the educational institution has not made any application to the prescribed authority for approval. The educational institution has not made any application to the prescribed authority for approval.
It is not mandate to section 1023C, sir.
To get approval.
11க்கு தான் சார் அப்ரூவல் ஆகும்.
11க்கு approval சொன்னேனா?
11க்கு ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன், 1023க்கு அப்ரூவல். ஓகே ஓகே ஓகே.
So tell me the answer.
Sir, it's below 5 crores, sir, so approval is not needed.
Very good answer, Paniyappan. Please remember, I have divided 1023C into 3. Government funded, approval vandam. No approval. Wholly or substantially for by government, which had education, medical. Second, small institutions. The terminology small institution means gross receipt does not exceed 5 crores. Education, medical, no approval required. Only if you are following on the third category, approval is required. Now I am reading the question. An educational institution having annual receipt of 3.8 crores. So, it is falling under the Second category, small institution. Approval is not mandated there. Approval need not be there. Okay. So the assessing officer's action is not correct. They need not seek approval. Section 10, subsection 23 is divided into three parts. Government funded institutions, either wholly or substantially. Approval is not mandatory. Small medical or educational institutions. Gross receipts not exceeding rupees 5 crores. Approval is not mandatory. Other charitable or religious or other institutions which are approved by prescribed authority. Approval mandatory. Only in the third case, only for institutions falling under third category, approval is mandatory. Only for institutions falling under the third category, approval is mandatory. Only for institutions falling under the third category, approval is mandatory. You want me to display it here? Question number 2. A not-for-profit trust undertakes philanthropic activities through an educational institution and a hospital. During the financial year 21-22, the trust has an annual receipt of 3 crores from educational institution and 4 crores from hospital. It desires to avail exemption under 1023C as the individual trust threshold under each of the subclasses is less than 5 crores. Can it do so?
No, sir.
No.
Cannot, sir.
It
No,
can.
sir, because aggregate
Yeah.
annual receipt.
Yeah. When we write the answer, we have to be clear that we know it is an amendment from the financial year 21-22. Shall I? Question number 3. Suez Maritime University, an educational institution, was set up on 1st December never applied for 23C exemption. The Board of Trustees now decide to obtain 1023-6. So it is going to the third. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Approval. The university wants to understand the time. Okay, right? Please wait on this question. The administrative procedures are the same for 1023C and 11. So we will together take it up this question. Please wait. I will take up this question later. Okay. So what is 1023C? 1023C covers three types of institutions. One, government funded wholly or substantially. Second, small institution. Third, those which require the approval of prescribed authority. As I told you in the beginning, section 1023C and then comes section 11. So section 1023C covers all these things. Rest all go to section 11, which is very detailed. Section 11 and 12, computation of income. Section 12A, conditions for claiming exemption. 12AB, this is registration of trust, which has undergone lot of changes. Okay. 13, denial of exemption. And 115 BBC, treatment of anonymous donation. What is the section? Section 115. So it will be a
Charging section.
charging section. 115 means charging section. Right? Let us first understand what is charitable or religious trust. What is that charitable or religious trust? Trust carrying on the activity of relief for the poor, education, yoga, medical relief, preservation of environment including watershed, forest, wildlife, everything, preservation of monuments and advancement of any other object of general public utility. Again repeating. What is charitable purpose or religious purpose? Relief for the poor, education, medical, yoga, preservation of environment, preservation of monument. Relief for the poor, education, medical, yoga, preservation of monument, environment, which includes forest, everything, preservation of monument. In the 6 categories, if you are following, you can even have business income. Let me repeat to you. In the 6 categories you are following, your quantum of business income is not at all important. You can even have business income. The last is advancement of any other object of general public utility. You are running an orphanage. If it is not coming under relief for poor, it will come here. You are running an old age home. Nee. The Coimbatore full of old age homes. Advancement of any other object of general public utility. You cannot have business income. I'll go little detail. Please understand at the first level. Education. For example, education. Can you run a canteen inside your college? Can you have space let out for some extracurricular activities? Some lab? You can do business. You can collect fees. You can sell notebooks. You can sell books. You can do business which is related to your activity. Medical, similarly, you know. But any trust which is registered and falling under advancement of any other object of public utility cannot have business income. Then these trusts represented to the government, sir. Our inmates are making small handicrafts which we are selling. Making small paintings. Children are making paintings which we are selling. So, saying that we should not have business income is putting cuff in our hands. Give us some liberty. Now the law says, now means not a recent amendment, already there. Okay, I will allow you business income to the extent of 20% of your total result. Okay. Whether charitable trust can do business. In case of activities falling under A to F, what are all they? Easy to remember. Relief for poor, education, medical, yoga, preservation of environment, preservation of monument. Tanjavur temple, archaeological department has it. Preservation of monument. Okay. So, in case of activities falling under A to F, the trust is free to do business. The condition is that it should be related to the main activity and the income should be utilized. In case of trust falling under general public utility, there is an expression that it should not involve in the business. But one benefit I give you. However, if such activity is undertaken in the course of carrying on of the object and the aggregate receipt does not exceed 20% of total receipt, then exemption will not be lost. Then exemption will not be lost. Okay, please understand. Okay, trust falling under object of general public utility. Trust is falling under object of general public utility. Total receipts. Okay, total receipts. Let me take 1 crore. Business income 20 lakhs allowed. You can still claim exemption. You can still claim exemption. Business income 20 lakhs, you can still claim exemption. Okay. Business income 25 lakhs, exemption lost. Exemption lost. You cannot claim exemption. Okay, you cannot claim exemption for that trust. Okay? Okay? This 25 lakhs, I am purely using it for the object of the trust. I am using it for the orphanage. I am using it for the old age people. Still the exemption is lost. You are not supposed to carry on business. If you carry on business, normally I don't allow. But not being strict, I allow up to 20%. If it exceeds 20%, I am not looking at your intention. I am not looking at what money, what did you do with that 25 lakhs? You have lost your exemption. That's what I'm coming to. Good question. That's where I'm coming to. The question was, and the question I'm also asking, I'm also making you understand is the exemption lost only for that year or permanently? The law has answered only for that year where it has exceeded. Not that it is permanent. 1 year you have accidentally exceeded, fine. Only for that year. Two important aspects are to be noted. Where the aggregate business receipts exceeds 20%, then irrespective of utilization, exemption is lost. You might even say, sir, whatever I received, I only used it for the purpose of the benefit of the people, public at large. You are not supposed to do business. I gave you a small bandwidth up to 20%. Beyond 20%, it is there. I am not going to look at what for you have put the money into use. And second, exemption cannot be claimed only in that year. It is not a permanent withdrawal, it is a temporary withdrawal.
Sir, one doubt. What if a charitable trust is doing one of the activities from A to F and also general public utility?
Two trusts or only one trust?
One trust doing different activities, one in A to F.
You have to maintain separate sets of books.
Okay, okay, sir.
Sir, one more doubt, sir.
Go ahead with your question.
Is the exemption available for the 20 lakhs or the whole of exemption of 25 lakhs is lost, sir?
The whole of the exemption is lost. Our friend's question is, up to 20% can I claim and remaining 5% alone fully taxable? No, the entire 25%. That is the full trust income becomes taxable.
Sir, will there be a confusion as to what is general public utility?
No. Very clear. Since the question is from Ananya, I can directly ask you. Promotion of music. General public utility.
Yes.
It is not falling under the other six. School,
Okay.
education, hospital, medical. The மாதிரி இருக்கு.
Okay.
வேற இருக்கு பரவாயில்ல. This is a 2014 amendment. Yoga was a 2014 amendment. And immediately after this government comes, I have a small story to tell you. That's why. Yoga was falling here. Advancement of general public utility. What is the problem of advancement of general public utility? Business
No
should not be
exception.
business should not be more than 20% of total receipt. A very famous yoga teacher, not only North, had
Patanjali?
products.
Patanjali products.
Patanjali.
Whose sale was very high, and they were not able to claim it here. How to make it them claim the benefit? Put them in a separate lot. Now they can freely do business. Okay. Exactly. Their main income is from so general public utility should be given a broader meaning. Should be given a broader meaning. Okay. Even minor ports developed by state of Gujarat, small ports are also qualifying under general. These are landmark judgments, not part of your examination at all. Okay, don't worry. Similarly, sports association, promotion of sports and games, it will also come under general public utility. Okay, it will also fall under general public utility. Suppose if a trust is falling under both charitable as well as mutual association. Okay, what is mutual association? We saw it in the first class. I don't want to take the risk and answer of asking the question. I'll answer myself. I believe you will remember that. Collected from the members, spent for the members, surplus available is for the members. Okay, so our residential association, small clubs, etc. Okay, where services are rendered only to members, then it takes the character of mutual association and not charitable institution. It is fully intact. Where services are rendered from non-members, then we need to understand the object of the trust and it will fall under charitable purpose. Very சாரி ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் 2008 இது நான் மாத்திடுறேன் உங்களுக்கு கொடுக்கறதுக்கு முன்னாடி 2008 இது 1984 ரொம்ப ஓல்டு இது எல்லாமே லேண்ட்மார்க் தட்ஸ் வை ஐ ஹவ் கெப்ட் இட் ஓகே ஓகே all of us are writing okay computation of income of a charitable trust. Okay, I'm going slow so that I can make you understand in one go everything. What can be the income of a charitable trust?
Donations.
First is, you are right, donation. In law, we give it a different name. Donation na ellarkum puriyra mari irukku. Namakku maatram puriyanum. Voluntary contribution. Voluntary contribution. Voluntary contribution. As you have all understood, it is nothing but donation received. As you have all understood it rightly, it is nothing but donation received. Voluntary contributions are the first form of income which a charitable trust can get. General donations. It is an income. You will understand very soon what is general donation. Don't worry. Corpus donation. Lifetime membership fees, lifetime donation, corpus donation is like a capital. Corpus donation, my dear friends, is like the capital. Is share capital an income?
No, sir.
No. So, corpus donation, please understand, not an income. Corpus donations are not income. Third is the specific called anonymous donation. We will deal with it in section 115 BBC. So as of now, though anonymous donation, I'm going to take it. As of now, general donations are income. Corpus donations are not income. Donation with a direction that it will form part of the capital are not at all income. Anonymous donation, a bigger problem, bigger threat is there. I'll come to that. So donation is a source of income. Our friend says government grant is a source of income. Then what other income can be there?
Investing the corpus funds and receiving interest out of it, sir.
Interest, good. Interest, very good. Then dividend, capital gains taniya deal
Capital.
பண்றேன். Interest, dividend, okay, like these things. And if you are a school, what type of income you will get?
Fees.
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 Main fees. If you are a club, what type of income you will get? Subscription.
Members.
Subscription. Apart from donation, etc., subscription. From patients, you get fees, etc. இது எல்லாத்துக்கும் சேர்த்து ஒரு பேர் இருக்கு. No, I'll come to that. All these things. That is, the school is a property of the trust. The hospital is the property of the trust. The club is the property of the trust. The investment is the property of the trust. Income from property held by the trust. This can be anything. School, அப்படின்னா fees. Hospital, na fees. Club, na club is the trust is created for the purpose of this club. Subscription. Investments, dividend, interest, various other income from property is very wide because the term property is very wide. So a trust income will consist of predominantly voluntary contribution and income from property held by the trust. Other than that, government grant or something. We call this as gross receipts, my dear friends. We call this as gross receipts. They are writing in the Why did I receive all these things? With the what promise I am receiving all these things? That I will spend it for the object for which this trust has been created. That I will spend it. Anna, the law is giving you 15% set apart. 15% of gross receipts you can accumulate. I understand. So, interpretation, I wrote it as 15%. Interpretation says 85% of my gross receipts I should have spent for the object of the trust. Indirectly, it means this 15% is like a standard deduction you can claim. Okay. So, amount to be utilized. You need not utilize it. Not that set apart means you can, the trustees can take it.
No, it will form part of the
Yeah, corpus. Yeah.
How does it mean?
No, it can be. Amount to be utilized. That is the 85%. This 85% should have been used for the object of the trust. Revenue expenditure, capital expenditure. Even capital expenditure can be claimed. Even capital expenditure can be claimed. Even capital expenditure can be claimed. Loan repaid can be claimed. Loan repaid can be claimed.
So that means the loan received is taken as income.
We'll discuss that. We'll discuss that. I'll discuss every point of it. Okay, so that you are clear. Okay. This total. Now, I am going for a concept called deemed utilization. I am going to a concept called deemed utilization. Deemed utilization அப்படின்னா என்ன?
It is not exactly for the utilized for the purpose of object.
இல்ல வெங்கடேஷ், I'll come, don't worry. Okay, நம்மளுடைய நார்மல் கான்செப்ட்ல இது வேற. Income from property held by the trust. What did you give it as example, Sudha?
Interest that you receive by investing the corpus funds.
Interest, dividend, whatever you say, you invest and get the return is known as interest accrued but not received. Interest accrued but not received. என்னால எப்படி சார் யூஸ் பண்ண முடியும்? How can I use it? You want me to use 85%, but an amount which I have not yet received, how can I use it? Deemed utilization. Income accrued but not received. Venkatesh, what did you give as example for income of the trust?
No. It's a capital donation, interest
donation,
from investments.
Correct, Venkatesh?
Voluntary contribution.
Yeah, voluntary contribution or donation. I'm taking this time to get the answer out of you itself. Normally, why do you give donation, Venkatesh?
Sir, for the object, for fulfill the object of the trust, I can contribute something from myself.
Okay, I
As
accept
an
that
individual person.
your generous nature is one reason. உண்மையான reason
To
வருவோம்.
claim
claim
exemption.
Ah,
Exemption,
claim.
sir.
Claim
Exemption.
Claim exemption.
80G deduction. To enjoy that 80. Of course, I'm not at all denying the generous nature of the people, but one other primary criteria is you will be able to get 80G deduction. Correct? Correct, Paniyappan? That's what you said, right?
Yes, sir.
When will you give donation? Okay.
At the time of filing
Yeah,
returns
no,
or
normally,
before.
filing
During the
returns
filing
only.
process.
Normally, normally
The trust is
people
registered.
இல்ல அதான் income இருக்கிற போது or normally people will always donate in the month of March because you all know that 80G has a 10% limitation. So normally this is a psychological aspect. Normally people, even though you plan it on April 1st, we always try to return filing madam. Okay, even though the forms are available, we will file only on December 30th. Okay, so normally people will be donating in the last month. இது from the angle of the people. இப்ப நான் trust April to February receipt 45 lakhs, March 1.8 crores. How will I spend 85% within 1 month? It becomes impracticable. Impracticable to utilize. Okay? Contributions or income received late. Impracticable to apply.
Sir, we are saying,
Sir, சொல்லுங்க.
no, sir, I'll ask later.
I'm a school, I'm a hospital, whatever it is, I'm a trust. I want to build another ward, another phase. Okay? I want to build another phase. 1 year surplus poduma? No, I need to accumulate. Yeah. With regard to trust, I am only talking the income tax law perspective of it. Practically, if I talk about trust, heart valikum. Majority of our schools are not to be qualified as trust. We all know. Okay, right? So let's not go into the practice. So 1 year surplus is not sufficient. So came a concept called conditional accumulation. That is for a future activity you are accumulating. So these three are called as deemed utilization. These three are called as deemed utilization. This is actual utilization. Okay. These are actual utilization. The first three are actual utilization. These three are deemed utilization. Okay. So, income of the trust. So if I reduce all these things, 85% what I have used, what I have deemed used, the balance is income of the trust taxable at slab rates. up to 250, 250 to 5 lakhs, like that. Taxable at slab rates.
Sir,
Listening?
for example, if a school receives a donation only this year to construct a lab and the construction is not yet complete, and the excess
It is
amount that
known
remains
as
after
corpus donation.
no, so only they receive a donation only for constructing a lab for this year or an extra block. And the excess income that remains, the construction is not yet over. What will happen to that amount, sir?
The school has received a donation for construction of a capital asset. It is known as corpus donation. It is not at all an income.
Okay, sir.
Today, if we are able to complete all these things, that itself is great. Very difficult, but still. Now, this is what is the manner of computing income. I am going into each and every item and now telling you what it is, how it is, what it takes into. Along with the amendment, which are wonderful amendments. Okay. We all know that under the present government, the trusts are coming under scanner. Most needed, but sometimes too much of control. Fine. Right. Corpus donations are not income. இப்போ சுதா சொன்ன example, I am making it loud to the class. A school is receiving, a person is donating 10 lakhs to the school, saying, use it for construction of lab. Use it for construction of lab or purchase of lab equipment. That is known as corpus donation. Is it an income? It's not an
Not
income.
an income.
It's not an income. The school receives it, constructs lab. Is the construction of lab, can it be claimed as a utilization?
As a capital expenditure.
Can the construction of lab be claimed as expenditure?
No,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Capital expenditure.
Yeah, no, Paniappan. Why
Sir.
strong no?
Sir, corpus donation, we didn't treat it as income, no, sir.
Till last year, we were doing so. Finance Act got amended. இப்போ நம்ம பழனியப்பன் சொன்னதுதான் 115 JB we have been seeing. When there is an exempt income, there cannot be an expenditure for that exempt income. When there is an exempt income, there cannot be an expenditure for that exempt income. When corpus donations are not income, spending out of that corpus donation is not an expenditure, is not an utilization. Landmark, I mean, this time I am very sure about questions flowing from our examination. Okay. I'm in page number 11. Though I'll again start from the first and come. The heading which I am reading now is what is not treated as utilization. The first thing that I want you to understand it, payment or expenditure out of corpus donation shall not be treated as utilization or application. Most important amendment, when the income is exempt, any expenditure out of that exempt income, when you are spending out of corpus, good example Sudha gave us. 10 lakhs was donated for lab. I did not take it as income. The lab construction cannot be taken as utilization. Okay, right. I did not receive any donation. I did not receive any donation, but I constructed lab. Can I claim it as expenditure, utilization?
Yes, sir.
Yes. We all know, yes, it can be claimed as utilization. I claimed it as utilization. Can I take depreciation for that?
No, sir.
Section
No, sir.
35. Section 35 AD. இங்க எல்லாம் படிச்சிருக்கோம். When capital expenditure is claimed, depreciation cannot be claimed. Depreciation with respect to an asset which is already claimed as application cannot be claimed. Fine. I'll do it. Don't worry. In a fashion also, I'll do it. You constructed a lab. You did not receive any donation exclusively for that. You constructed a lab. By taking loan, can I claim it as utilization?
If
I
we
took
consider
loan
it
of
as
10 lakh.
income,
Sorry.
Only
Uh,
one can be claimed, sir. Either it has to be a capital expenditure or a loan repaid. You cannot claim double.
Excellent answer. That's the answer. Yes, as our friend. Loan is not an income. So buying a capital asset using a loan cannot be an expenditure. And the excellent answer Sudha gave is, later when the loan is repaid, you claim it as income. Okay. Till last year, we were claiming both. Honestly, I'm telling you, till last year, we were claiming both. The amended law is now very strong. Payment or expenditure out of borrowings will not be treated as utilization. For example, if an asset is purchased out of borrowed funds, then the cost of asset cannot be treated as utilization. However, repayment of loan from income recorded shall be treated as utilization. Stunning amendments. You cannot, when it is not an income, you cannot claim its utilization. General donation is an income. In that you spend, you can. Corpus donation is not an income. When you spend from that, you cannot. Okay. Loan is not an income. When you spend from that, you cannot. However, repayment will be treated as income. Staying on with the example which our friend gave us. Corpus donation for lab construction, 10 lakhs. Okay. Neither income nor application. Okay. In the later years, out of the income, okay, out of the income earned, corpus is built back. I am again transferring to corpus. Okay. Here it will be treated as application. Here it will be treated as application. I'll go in a detailed manner. From the financial year 22-23, from the financial year, 21-22, assessment year 22. From the financial year 21-22, in which we are all writing our examination, one of the important condition is corpus donation should be kept invested separately. One of the most important condition is corpus donation should be kept invested separately. I'm traveling from the top. Okay. Corpus donation. From financial year 21-22, corpus donation will be exempt only if it is kept deposited or invested in using section 11.5. So it should be kept separately. You cannot mingle it. Expenditure from corpus will not be allowed. Expenditure from corpus will not be allowed. This we understood just now. When it is not an income, not an expenditure, but please understand. It's enough if you understand. Financial year 21-22. Income 50 lakhs. Corpus donation 20 lakhs. Expenditure 60 lakhs. Okay. Excess of expenditure over income 10 lakhs. All of us, please understand, income is only 50 lakhs. But I spent 60 lakhs, okay, which is popularly known as loss. Loss of 10 lakhs. இந்த பைசா எனக்கு எங்கேன்னு வந்திருக்கும்? I have spent 10 lakhs extra. Where from I would have got that 10 lakhs? This technically means I have used the corpus donation of 10 lakhs. Otherwise, when my income is 50 lakhs, how can I spend 60 lakhs? Okay. Technically, corpus donation of 10 lakhs is used. Technically, this means corpus donation of 10 lakhs is used, which cannot be claimed as application. Which cannot be claimed as application. In financial year 22-23. In financial year 22-23. Income 75 lakhs. Expenditure 50 lakhs. Surplus 25 lakhs. So the surplus of 10 lakhs was transferred to corpus. Last year, I took from corpus 10 lakhs because I did not have the income. Last year, I withdrew from corpus 10 lakhs because I did not have the income. This year, I have the income. So, whatever I withdrew, I gave it back to corpus. In this case, it is known as application. This amendment signifies that is not deposited, then it will be treated as income. Okay, I am coming to the seventh point again. Corpus donation is an exempt income, so any spendings from such donation will not be treated as application. The amended law ensures that. However, where corpus donation is spent, then in the year in which it is deposited or invested back, it will be treated as application. First year I spent the corpus donation, I cannot claim that 10 lakhs. But in the next year, when I am reinvesting the corpus fund, at that time, anyhow, this 10 lakhs I should claim in 1 year. Not in the first year, but in the second year, I can claim. It is like loan. Loan received is not an income. Capital expenditure incurred on loan received is not an utilization. But in the year in which loan is repaid, in the year in which corpus donation is repaid, it can be treated as income. I mean, you are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let us start back from the top again. Okay. Donation is one major form of receipt. General donations are treated as income. Regarding corpus donation, as I told you, major amendments. Trust is 2022. Whenever we are going to write the examination, trust is having so much of amendments that they can keep questioning for the next few attempts. Whole registration process has undergone change. Okay. This is like capital of the trust, like how share capital for a company is a receipt but not income. Voluntary contribution with a specific direction that it shall form part of corpus will not be treated as income. This is already there. No. They want us to maintain, because you receive a corpus donation and spend it for your normal activity and claim exemption. Till last year it was doing so. So now, from the financial year 21-22, corpus donations will be exempt only if it is kept deposited separately, invested separately. 11.5 as a list, don't worry about it. Capital gain money, yeah, that CGADS money. This amendment signifies that if the corpus donation is not deposited or kept separately, it will be treated as income. ரெண்டு பேங்க் அக்கௌண்டே வச்சுக்க சொல்றாங்க. ரெண்டு அக்கவுண்ட். கார்பஸ் டொனேஷனுக்கு அது தனியா இன்னொரு அக்கவுண்ட்டுக்கு போட்டோம். Nothing wrong in taking a small deviation. You know what are all we are doing at the end of the year? At the end of the year, they will do the account. 1 crore income. 85% should be spent. 85 lakhs. Only 75 lakhs is spent. Sir, I have seen in front of my eyes. யாராவது ஒரு 10 lakhs donation கொடுத்தவங்கள்ட்ட போய் we will get the letter that this is for corpus. This was happening. So they will go back to the person who donated some 10 lakhs and say, please give us a letter that this is for corpus. So that the income will become 90 lakhs. Now they want to, if it is corpus donation, maintain it in separate bank account. Otherwise, this amendment signifies that if the corpus donation is not invested in a separate account, it will be treated as income. So, here corpus donation not an income only if it is kept deposited separately. Otherwise, there is all possibility now that it will be treated as income. Because there is all possibility that this will be treated as income. Okay. About anonymous donation, very soon I will come. Income from property, as I told you, it's very wide. The term property is wide enough to cover all assets, investment, any income from property is a revenue income. Subscription will also be revenue income. Okay. Okay. Business income. Do we know how to treat business income? Do we know how to treat business income? It depends upon whether the trust is falling under the first 6 category, 7th category. What are all the first 6 categories? Education, medical, yoga, relief for poor, preservation of environment, preservation of monument. Business income can be anything, use it. Otherwise, business income. So, that is. This is a very important thing to understand. Exempt income. Exempt under section 10 is not applicable for a trust. For trust, I will give you exemption only if you use it for the exemption under 11 depends on utilization of funds. So, exemption under 10 is not applicable. Okay. If a charitable trust earns an income which is normally exempt under the section 10, the same cannot be claimed in this section or for the purpose of this chapter. You use it, then claim it. The same will be treated as income and 85% should be utilized from the same also. However, agricultural income is never taxable. That union government cannot tax it. Okay. Even if you have an exempt income, now it is less. Last year and all, couple of years back, dividend is an exempt income. So charitable trust dividend not taxable. No, it is taxable. They should use 85% of that also. Tax-free bond interest, then yeah, exactly. Please read it. Am I clear? Am I clear? Okay. So, the trust can have the following incomes: voluntary contributions, income from trust, business income, we will talk about it, exempt income, capital gains, I am not touching upon now. I will, as I told you, I will touch upon later. Okay. Later part, I will touch upon. Utilization. You can claim 15% for as standard deduction. Even a Supreme Court judgment has said it is 15% of gross receipts you can claim. Not a recent judgment, long time. Utilization means application of income. The income derived should be utilized for the purpose of the trust. 15% can be set apart. In other words, 85% of the income should be applied. utilization can only be in India. You cannot spend outside India. You cannot get property outside India and claim. What is utilization? All revenue expenditure, capital expenditure will also be treated as utilization. However, where asset is used, then depreciation cannot be claimed. Repayment of loan is also an application if the loan is taken for the purpose of the trust. Loan given for students for higher studies will be treated as application. The loan repaid by them is treated as income. Donation given to another charitable or religious trust, provided it is not with the direction that it shall form part of corpus. One of the mind-blowing amendment 2019. அதான் கார்பஸ் டொனேஷன் உனக்கு இன்கமா ராஜா? நான் ஒரு ட்ரஸ்ட், நீ ஒரு ட்ரஸ்ட். எனக்கு ஜெனரல் டொனேஷனா வந்தது, உனக்கு நான் கார்பஸா கொடுத்துட்டேன். 45 trust people are having. I'm not exaggerating. There is a very famous person here itself. 45 trust. Donation, subscription, income, 85% should be claimed. I gave donation to another trust. My expense should be his. I don't say you should not give donation. You give donation, but your expenses should be his income. What did you do? I gave donation to another trust saying that this will become corpus of your trust. So it is an expenditure for me, not an income for
Sir,
you.
video struck, I think.
Sir, video is stuck, sir.
If it again gets struck, I will change the. இப்போ கேக்குதா? இப்போ clear-ஆ இருக்கா? So, there were people who are having multiple trusts, 40, 45 trusts, I know. They were earning income in one trust as subscription, as fees, or as donation. And they were passing it on to another trust, saying this will form part of your corpus. It became my expenditure, but not his income. It became my expenditure. My trust is claiming it as utilization, but the receiving trust is not treating it as income. Always the concept is one person's expenditure should be another person's income. Here is a circumstance where I am spending, but he is not recording it as income. So came this concept. Donation given to another charitable or religious trust will also be treated as application, provided the donation is not given. Remember, is not given with the direction that it shall form part of corpus. Even payment of taxes is application. Most important, what is not concept of deemed utilization. Very good concept here. Yeah, donation to another trust is an application, utilization, provided you don't give it with the direction that it will form part of corpus of another trust. Okay, now concept of deemed utilization. We saw income accrued but not received, interest of 21-22 not received, deemed accumulation or deemed utilization. Okay, you can claim it. Received in 22-23. Received in 22-23. Utilize this in 22-23 or 23-24. After you receive, you should use it. But the law is kind enough in telling use it within these 2 years. இத தியரிட்டிக்கலா சொல்லட்டுமா? Income accrued but not received is considered as deemed utilization. The same should be utilized in the year of its receipt or in its subsequent year. The same should be utilized in the year of its receipt or in subsequent year. How will the assessing officer know? Application has to be made. You have to apply. It's a form 10 னு ஒன்னு இருக்கு. உலகத்திலேயே அந்த ஒரே ஃபார்ம் தான் எல்லாருக்கும் ட்ரஸ்ட்க்கு. Okay, in form 10 say this has not been received, I will use. Are you understanding this, Venkatesh?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
In 22-23, in the year in which I am receiving and spending, can I claim it as utilization?
Sir, but 21-22 லயே நீங்க deemed application utilize
Till
பண்ணிருக்கீங்க.
last year where what we are doing is unfair. நாம அந்த வருஷம் யூட்டிலைசேஷன்லயே இத காமிச்சிருந்தோம்.
Okay.
So what happened? Interest of 21-22, 10 lakhs not received. We said this is his application because deemed application. Received in November 22. So 22-23. And spent 9 lakhs of this. 9 lakhs cannot be shown as utilization of 22-23. இதுதான் இப்போலாம். ஆனா till last year இந்த 9 lakhs நம்ம utilization. I am nowhere saying a wrong word. I am again telling in the 9 lakhs நாம, because assessee doesn't know this provision. Okay, right? The only thing I don't have on charitable trust is also trust. Okay, right. First is deemed utilization. What is the second thing? Donation received in March 22. Deemed. Use it in 22-23. Use it in 22-23. How to write it as per law? Where there is an impracticability to apply because the income is received late. Where it is impracticable to apply because income is received late, then make an application in form 10 to the assessing officer. Use it in the succeeding year. And in the succeeding year, you cannot claim it as utilization. At the time of filing the return. I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that also. His question was, when should I get the approval? இதுக்கு வந்து அப்ரூவலே கிடையாது. நீ ஃபார்ம் 10 கொடுத்தா automatic. Okay. Then comes section 11, subsection 2, conditional accumulation. For future activity. Okay, form needs to be filed. Okay, I can say, sir, every year 10 lakhs I will accumulate, sir. In the future, I have a big activity, I have a building coming up, so can I accumulate it? Yes, form need to be filed. Maximum period 5 years. Okay, lesser period can be determined by AO. AO can say, in the activity cannot take more than 2 years, more than 3 years, but maximum is 5 years. This is also deemed utilization. What is deemed utilization? Income accrued but not received, where the trust follows mercantile basis of accounting. Accrued income will be treated as income. It is logical and practical that such income cannot be applied unless it is received. So, in the year in which it is recorded as income, it will be deemed to have been utilized. The same should be utilized in the year of its receipt and there is subsequent year. If there is any unutilized amount, the same will become taxable. That is the catch point. If it is not utilized, it is taxable not in the year of non-utilization, in the year of receipt. You will go back and tax it. Read the example, you will understand. Yeah. Impracticability, where income is received but unable to apply as it is received late, then an application can be made for deferring. The amount proposed to be deferred will be treated as utilization, should be used in the immediately succeeding year. Conditional accumulation, where the trust want to accumulate funds for further activity, then it can make an application to the specifying the purpose and the period. However, the maximum period of accumulation cannot exceed 5 years. AO has power to provide for lesser period. Such an accumulation will be treated as deemed. Where it is not utilized, it becomes the income of the period in which the period ends. This is the point which our friend was asking, Sriram was asking. In all the above 3 cases of deemed utilization, return needs to be filed along with the form within the due date of filing return. Where return is not filed, you're lost. You cannot claim deemed utilization. Generally, all exemptions and deductions now, the return has to be filed within due date. Form 10 oda file பண்ணுங்க. Yes, sure. Same points தான் பாருங்க. நான் எழுதிட்டேன்.
Sir,
Yes, Sudha.
for income accrued and not utilized, they have given a period of 2 years for utilization, sir. Then why do they treat the balance as income in the first year itself, sir?
When it is not utilized, they want you to file a revised. I am giving you time for 2 years. If you have not
Oh.
used it, then file a revised return in the preceding year itself and take it as income.
So for the balance 10,000, if you claim it as income in the succeeding year and utilize it in the subsequent year, then you have to file a revised return,
Yes,
sir.
yes, because time period would have lapsed.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's a bigger problem. It's a bigger problem. It gets complicated. Actually, it should have been in the year in which it is not utilized, as she has said. It should not be from the year of receipt. It gets complicated. Yeah. What is not treated as utilization? I want you to understand this. Provisions are applicable for all trusts falling under 11 and trusts which are falling under the third category of section 1023C. What is that category? Approved.
Approved.
Yeah. First category is government funded. Second category is smaller institutions, 5 crores. These are approval based institutions. So good, you understood. Idhe mada registration I will use this word, third category. Depreciation cannot be claimed. And 40. If tax has to be deducted at source, it is not deducted or remitted, only 70% can be claimed. Remaining 30% cannot be claimed. Okay. Expenditure paid in through unapproved modes cannot be claimed on a single day to a particular person in excess of 10,000 cannot be claimed. Similarly, expenditure is accounted on accrual basis, but payment is made in the current year violating 48.3, then it will be treated as income. Number 48.3 we have done cost solutions. No, 1023C is for ease of provisions. Ease. Why should a small trust, why should they go through all these 85%, so much of complications? Chinna trust claim பண்ணிட்டு போட்டுமே. Section 11, for trust falling under section 11 should go for registration. Trust falling under the third limb of 23C should go for approval. Other does nothing. Just claim it. Trust deed la irukkanum. Now coming to the other part. Donation to another trust specified or institutions by with a direction that it will form part of corpus will not be treated as utilization. Will not be treated as utilization. Okay. Now for the amendments. Donation to unregistered trust will not be. Payment or expenditure out of corpus donation will not be utilization. Corpus donation is an exempt income, so any spending shall not be treated as application. The amended law has ensured that corpus donation should be kept deposited. However, where corpus donation is spent, then the year in which it is given back, it is like loan given back. In that year, you can treat it as application. You're not clear? Yeah. Yeah, same point. I used the 10 lakhs. Now I am replacing the 10 lakhs for corpus. I can. Payment or expenditure out of borrowings shall not be treated as utilization. In the year of repayment, you can claim it. Utilization of conditional accumulation cannot be claimed as application because I have already allowed it. நான் 5 வருஷம் லேப் கட்ட போறேன். லேப் கட்டினதுக்கு அப்புறம் திருப்பி you are claiming. Okay. So It will not be. And this is one amazing amendment. No more set off of losses. No more set off of losses. With effect from assessment year 22-23, set off of excess application, which is nothing but set off of losses, are not allowed. Where in any earlier year, amount utilized is in excess of income received, which is technically excess of expenditure over income, casually known as losses, such excess cannot be claimed. That's why here I am not allowing. You cannot claim both set off and replacement of corpus, replacement of loan. I cannot allow it. It's a very wonderful year of amendments. Sure, short questions. Everything if you are writing in May, you're the first time you are going to write this. I want the class to patiently read what is not utilization. What is not utilization? Take your time and read. Yes, I'm taking your doubt.
The doubt. இப்போ இது கார்பஸ் டொனேஷன் ஷுட் பி கெப்ட் இன் பிரிஸ்கிரைப்ட் இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட்ஸ் இல்லையா சார்?
ஆமாம்.
இப்போ வந்து நம்ம இப்ப கிளைம் பண்ணும்போது அப்ப வித்ட்ராயல் அலௌடா சார் கார்பஸ் டொனேஷன்ல இருந்து?
அலௌட். ஆனா வித்ட்ரா பண்ணி யூட்டிலைஸ் பண்றதை யூ கேனாட் கிளைம். சப்சிக்வென்ட்லி வித்ட்ரான் அமௌண்ட்டை ரீப்ளேஸ் பண்ணுவீங்க, அப்போ கிளைம் பண்ணுவீங்க. She was asking, I kept corpus donation in a separate account, 11 file சொல்லிருக்க மாதிரி. Later I withdrew for some purpose. I need that money. So I withdrew. Is it allowed? Yes, allowed. But whatever purpose for which you have used that money, you cannot claim it as utilization. But later, when you replace that corpus, you can again claim it. That's loss. You cannot allow it. So these are all there are some 17 modes in which you can invest your corpus. But this is the most famous people put it in or maximum they invest in small securities, etc. Equity shares la invest பண்ணக்கூடாது. That is the primary criteria. Don't worry about the list. They should keep the deposit. Okay. Concept of deemed income, where money is applied for purpose other than charitable or religious in the year of application. In the year of application. Not kept deposited in the year in which you have not kept it deposited. Conditional accumulation is granted, but assessee fails to use. Okay, in the year of maximum 5 years, at the end of the 5 years. Okay, accumulated or set apart for religious purpose, but donated to another institution in the year in which it is donated. The 31st October. All trusts are coming under audit. Is corpus donation taxable? Is it treated as income? Ananya Kanan, is corpus donation treated as income?
No, sir.
No. The donor should give it as corpus donation, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. கடைசியா எப்ப திருப்பதி போன அனன்யா?
Sir, 1 year இருக்கும்.
Okay. In Tirupati, those who have gone will understand. After the Venkatajalapati idol, after worshipping the Supreme, we come out to Srivari Undi. Laddu appuram. I don't know how many of you have noticed, but from now on, I am sure every time you will notice this. We come clockwise prakshanama, we come to Srivari Undi. There will be 2 hundis. Donation box. Okay. There will be 2 hundis. One which is covered, which is very closer to the Supreme. Another just outside. In the one which is covered, there is a marking. There is a marking. And the marking நீங்க படிக்கலைன்னா நமக்கு வந்து we are in ecstasy. So we will not even look at, but there is a marking. Any offering in this hundi will be treated as if you are offering as corpus donation. There will be 2 hundis. Next time when you are visiting, you will definitely watch what I am saying. One which will have a coverage and which will have a box on the top. You will not even see unless we are coming from our tax classes later next year. You will definitely see it next time. Any offerings in this will be treated as corpus donation, and the other one outside. All of us know something. நீங்க என்னதான் சொன்னாலும் அந்த கார்பஸ் டொனேஷன் ஹுண்டியில் தான் நம்ம போடுவோம். ஏன்னா we all believe அதுதான் வெங்கடாஜலபதிக்கு போகுது. That is what is Kuberan is giving back. The other hundiயை நம்ம மதிச்சதே கிடையாது. This became a case. Ananya was just telling me, which I also agree with all of you. The donor should say that it is a corpus donation. The receiver, just by putting the receiver, just by putting, if you make an offering here, it is a corpus donation. The receiver, just by making a board that it will form part of corpus donation, is it sufficient? Okay, is the question. 1 minute, Raja. 1 minute.
It should be.
Question number 11. இது வந்து examல வந்து இந்த question. Hundi, a charitable box, superscribing, contribution in this hundi will form part of corpus trust, is kept in Lord Venkateshwara temple, Tirumala, was opened. Cash of 100 lakhs and valuables of 250 lakhs were found to have been contributed by devotees. Will it be treated as income? Evo said, donor should say, receiver cannot say. This is the case. Can judgment be against anywhere like this? Supreme Court said, no. When there is a clear specification That contribution in this will be forming part of corpus of trust. The person contributing is deemed to have read that. Deemed to have read that and contributing. Anyhow, there was a hundi outside also. If the person contributing doesn't have the idea that it is not corpus, then he would have okay, psychological level. Okay, so that I'm leading you to some other discussion from this, but I got reminded of this particular case law where you are supposed to have read it and so you have contributed after reading, so there is no question of any other thing. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, no. Even I think we have already studied, or we will study a particular question. I think we have already studied. I gave donation. The trust got delisted, but still, when I gave the donation, I gave it with a so I can. Okay. In 2000, early 2000, 2007, and not even early, late 2000. After the bomb blast in Mumbai, 2006, Taj. After some other incidents that happened across the country, we were looking into, as a government, we are looking into how come funds are coming into our country. One of the highly easier route was trust. Money was coming for sometime illegal activities through trust as a gateway, which bothered us to a larger extent. As a country, we got really worried. But that doesn't mean we can just delist all the trust. All good things, NGOs were also happening due to trust only. So we started saying, let every trust present annual information report, AIR, stating who donated, what is their PAN, from what account they donated, everything. And foreign contributions were coming under FCRA, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. Any donation that is received without the data of the donor is popularly known as anonymous donation. Any donation that is coming into the trust without the data of the donor, name, address, PAN, is known as anonymous donation. And I want to fully tax it. So came section 115 BBC and I taxed it as maximum rate of 30%. Rate of tax is 30%. 28th February is the date on which budget is read. 28th February evening 7 p.m., 6 p.m. approximately, Mr. P. Chidambaram announced that anonymous donation received by the trust is taxable at 30%. Anonymous donation means where the data of the donor is not available, be it for corpus, be it for anything, it is taxable at 30%. 5th March, he need to withdraw something, the same provision, and reintroduce because of one institution, Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. They asked us, how can we maintain detail? Superscript பண்ண முடியுமா in that hundi? Please drop your PAN card also along with your contribution. Impossible. The purpose of bringing the provision was lost immediately. On 5th March, Chidambaram says, religious trust, this provision
Exempted.
will not apply. Since I'm going to come to this example, I gave you the other example also. Religious trust, this provision will not apply because
It is hard to find out who's actually paying it.
Because we know that if you every day it's crores and crores, practically impossible. So religious trust okay are not coming under this particular provision. Okay, anonymous donation means any contribution received but the details of the donor is not available, specifies that exemptions are not available for anonymous donation. Anonymous donation are taxable at 30%. But sometimes 100 rupees, 200 rupees people give. For old age home, 150 pan kudunga. Poda abindruvom. So one small exemption was available. However, considering reasonability and practicability, exemption is 5% of total donation received or rupees 1 lakh, whichever up to 1 lakh you can receive, or up to 5% if that is higher. Out of the total donation, it can be. Again, 1 minute, Raja. Anonymous donations are not applicable for a religious trust. The above provisions are applicable for all trusts falling under 11 as well as 23C. However, those institutions falling under the first aspect, because government funding only, will not be covered. But still, there are a lot of things to be, loopholes are to be closed for trust. Trust, எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு, from the date Nirmala Sitharaman took over the seat, she was only focusing on trust. But still there are problems. Yeah, Raja, what's your question? Not action. No. We are not allowing them to invest in equity. Mutual funds sometimes
Sir, I have a doubt. Exemption is 5% of total donation received by assessee or rupees 1 lakh. So, 5% of total donation, the persons who contributed that might be known or not known. What is the point of that 5%?
total donation, total voluntary contribution. In our example, I can take you this, the total of these three.
Okay, so it's not specific to anonymous donation.
No.
Okay, sir.
Minor donated, okay. Guardian's fund.
But guardian's fund.
Yeah. Fan, yeah. So, friends, how to compute the income of the trust? Voluntary general donation is only an income. Corpus donation is normally not an income, but now I can tell you an exemption. When it will be income? If not kept deposited in 11.5. If not kept deposited in 11.5, it will become an income. That is the amendment. Anonymous donation, I am not dealing with, but I am taxing it at a higher rate of 30%. Income from property, utilization, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure, depreciation cannot be claimed, loan repaid, deemed utilization, and it is taxable at slab rates. If the utilization is from corpus, accumulated donations, loan repaid, all these things you cannot, loss you cannot set it off. Major amendments have taken place in the computation. Whole of the registration process has changed. That's why I said there is more possibility of question. We'll start answering the questions from tomorrow morning, friends. From tomorrow morning, we'll start answering the question. Tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, I'm coming live. In institute only, I will be there because I don't have power at home for, I don't think, next 2-3 days. The power will be for 5 houses. That is the problem. We have only 5 houses of that street. Sorry.